Today's video is on Bitcoin FUD and when it hits the market. Now, you guys will see in this video there is a voiceover as well as a few videos of my own past year in retirement. Now, if you guys find that distracting, then please just watch this as a podcast. This isn't meant to depreciate the message of being in Bitcoin FUD. This is just to give you guys a better insight into how you should be living life during the time when Bitcoin has FUD, especially for the basement dwellers out there and the people who are too stuck in the charts. That is the message I'm trying to spread here. But again, if it isn't something you guys want to see, just watch this as a podcast. Okay, let's begin. Good morning, guys. My name is Alistar. Welcome to All-Star Crypto. This is the channel for you guys to get practical advice without the noise, without the hype, and just to give you guys proper insight into the cryptocurrency space from the 10 years of experience I've had in the space of massive losses and also massive wins. If you guys are new here, again, welcome to the channel. Hope you guys are doing awesome wherever you are around the world. Now, this video today is going to be a very different sort of video. This is one that has more to do with the lifestyle choice of crypto in general and being within the cryptocurrency space, but also just learning how to deal with the FUD or the downside risks of cryptocurrency in general. I'm going to be teaching you guys this from a perspective of the 10 years experience and also going through all of these experiences myself. I'm going to be sharing with you guys some very real things to do with the space in general and just cut out the noise and the BS that you guys might be invested in that is very easy to kind of ignore and listen to for the most part. So ignoring the risks that come with taking advice, etc., and also going through the space and just kind of being a sheep, right? So I know for a fact that this video is not going to go viral. It is not going to get so many views. But when Bitcoin has FUD, when the cryptocurrency space has FUD, when your favorite altcoin goes down 80% and you're sitting there wondering what went wrong, you need to come to a very, very big understanding in and of yourself when this happens. Okay, now I am going to teach you guys how to deal with FUD in the cryptocurrency space, so please watch this. I am going to be giving you guys this repeatedly over the cycles of the bull run and the bear market periodically, because this is something that I am very, very invested in, and it is something I've gone through so many times. When you have one person give news on social media and that is enough to cause Bitcoin to drop 50%, it is very hard to kind of hold on to your wallet and not kind of break down in tears. The funny thing about this is if you have been in the space for long enough and you've also dealt with a lot of the top entrepreneurs in the world, you realize that it's a very morbid type of space in a way, in the same way the Forex and stock market is actually a very, very volatile and negative place. And this is away from the hype. I know a lot of you guys and girls don't want to hear this, but the truth is exactly that. The funny thing is, a lot of investors, even especially actually ones that I work with, they always tell me that the way that they actually get the signals for knowing when it is time to buy in any investment type of space like stocks or crypto or whatever you're in or housing is usually when there's news of people committing suicide. Now, I didn't want to start it with this, but it's very important for you guys to understand the other side of cryptocurrency, the other side of people being in a very negative space with how things are going, and hopefully being a 10-year health expert, health professional, etc. I am going to help you guys get through this in the best way possible. So, FUD hits, right? Bitcoin goes down 50%. What do you do? Now, the best thing that I can do in this time is to get you to get these habits down so you guys will be in a better place and it will come to you in an instant and you guys will know how to react when these types of things happen. So the first thing to remember is this. What goes down will come up eventually. If, big if there are sound fundamentals with what you are investing in. Now, I say this very, very, very importantly and very critically to you guys because there are so many sheep in this space and they just continue to flock like crazy to the people who are the wolves who you put massive amounts of trust in. And trust me, a lot of these types of entrepreneurs are actually people that I work with a lot, especially in the YouTube space. But in terms of listening to their advice, getting them to, well, investing in what they say and not doing my own research, I've never been a person to do this. I can tell you guys, in health, wealth, love, and happiness in general, a majority of the time when somebody is talking, they don't understand what is actually going on. It's actually the experts in different spaces who are usually the ones who shut their mouth and the ones who are actually changing the world. And this is what I've done, like I've said a lot in my different channels for the past 10 years. I actually chose to work with the serial entrepreneurs of the world because I understood that these are the people who can actually change the world, right? Not just teaching the normal people or going and being a YouTuber, but actually getting millions of dollars in donations to help with the coronavirus research, going out and being the health professional and saving lives as a superhero for the world, etc., rather than, again, being a sheep and just following and being scared and reactive to what's going on in the environment. The exact same thing applies with cryptocurrency and being very profitable in general. You guys need to do your own research. You do. You cannot listen to anybody. Don't even listen to me. Seriously, I've been in the space 10 years, but I could be wrong. Just as easy as some quote-unquote expert can be wrong. And like I said, what goes down will eventually come up with sound fundamentals, but you have to know from your perspective what those sound fundamentals are, which means you have to research into the actual business that you're investing in before you choose to click the buy button. There are so many people who just screw themselves over because they're following the next YouTuber who thinks they know what they're saying, but a majority of these people, they come from the perspective where, because of their following, and by the way, if you guys don't believe me, I can point you guys to YouTubers who are in crypto who work in my Alpha Self group. So I have literally taught them how to do what they do, besides the dodgy parts, right? But a lot of these people get affiliated with certain businesses who just want to spike the interest of their business and also spike the investment side of the portfolio. So yeah, you've got to look at people's intentions past what they're actually saying and what they're trying to make you believe. A majority of people are out there for themselves first, and sure, these YouTubers, they're good people, for the ones I've worked with anyway, in the crypto space, but I can tell you, they're going to watch out for themselves first. And that's just human nature in general. This place of coming from greed in general, you never win. You never win. I can tell you guys, again, in health, wealth, love, and happiness, being in all of these multiple spaces for the past decade, a lot of the people who thought that they were quote-unquote winning by screwing someone over, they never win in the long run. Never. Never. Trust me. And they're never happy even if they do win for a short-term period. But the important thing is looking at it from the perspective of doing my own research and trusting myself, yes, trusting yourself over what anybody else says is key. It is very key. Okay? So like I said, what goes down will come up eventually in the charts, in dollar cost averaging and value, etc. But you have to do your own research. Okay, now, the next thing that I want to suggest to you guys is that if you buy low and sell high, then usually it works out, but not always. I can tell you guys that there have been a lot of different experiences that I've had in different stock market ventures and different business ICOs, and I could carry on, right? Different speculative markets that you go into that just end up being the quote-unquote tulip, right? The tulip. If you guys haven't done your research on that, I suggest you do. It's just pretty much where tulips used to cost more than, I think it was houses at one point in time, until they realized, hey, tulips actually expire and they wither out and die. And there were a lot of people who lost out a lot because they were following the sheep, following as sheep and following the herd towards their own demise, pretty much jumping off a cliff. So, like I said, going away, doing your own research is very key. What you guys will understand from a practical perspective is this. Bitcoin in general has always made huge returns. All you have to do is not sell in fear. Do I need to repeat that? I think I do, because it's very important you guys understand this. Bitcoin always returns back. So if you guys are at a loss when it comes to Bitcoin right now, in terms of the US dollar value or dollar value in general, just hold and not sell out of fear. Actually, what I would suggest you do is when the dip comes, and it is a dip that you don't understand happened, or a crash, buy more if possible. Most of you make the mistake, and I say this from a position where I've done it myself multiple times, where you put in too much from the start. You put in too much into one position and you're counting on that position 110%, which is a good thing if you know what you're doing. If you don't know what you're doing and it's a possibility in your mind to get it wrong, you haven't done the actual research beforehand, then you're better off dollar cost averaging or going in sections of the income to actually make long-term profit. You cannot be in a position where you are constantly putting all into something and thinking that you're going to constantly come out on top. Like I've said to you guys before, even the best people in this world get it wrong. And you need to look at where they're coming from, which is something that I need to go through in very big detail for you guys. You must look at people's actions in this cryptocurrency space and not their words. I will tell you guys, in the past few bull runs in the market cycles going back for the past now 10 years, I have been in the space and I have seen the biggest people in the world who the mainstream media look to for advice give you the wrong advice on purpose for their own greedy agendas. Now, these are people that are renowned, and I won't name names because you guys can just look it up on Google. You can see that there have been a lot of people saying, Bitcoin's a bubble, coming out and speaking out publicly, and then getting in, and now they are one of the biggest cryptocurrency holders, usually of Bitcoin or Ethereum, in the world. Yeah, so this is what I mean about listening to people, yeah, listen, but look at their actions and not their words. And even worse, if their words are coming from the wrong place, don't listen to them at all. I've learned in the now 15 years of being a serial entrepreneur to really shut out what people say. Shut out what they say. Most of the time they don't know what they're talking about, especially if they don't live it. You cannot go to a skinny baker for good bread. You guys understand? You cannot go to a skinny baker for good bread. They don't know what they're talking about. If they haven't tasted what they make, usually they don't know what they're talking about. If they have not been doing it for a large period of time and you cannot see it in the evidence, do not listen to them. For you guys and girls who are young, and I know a lot of you are young in this space because a lot of you have come from my TikTok. If you guys want to follow that, it's All Star Life. In terms of listening to your teachers, I will just be straight up with you guys. A majority of these people don't know what they're talking about. They follow a system. They follow a system of education. And I'll be honest, knowing a lot of teachers myself, a lot of people in the online space as well as the physical space, which is where I've chosen to focus my time, money, energy, effort, and resources on, they come from the position where they're usually confined with what they're able to do. For myself, that was the reason why I left the healthcare space in terms of work. Because the healthcare space, even though I was given a lot in terms of freedom and ability, and also return of money on my time invested, it was not worth it because I was confined to a system, and that system is old. And when the system is old and it doesn't keep up with the new generations of people and their health concerns and everything going on in this world, you come out with a problem just like the coronavirus. Yeah, so I went there. And yes, if you guys want to know, I do updates from a position where I'm actually one of the people who is researching how to get rid of COVID-19. I did it for most of 2020. So if you guys want to know a lot about that, then just hop on to my other channel. I give updates, etc. Again, from a place of experience, not from a place of just talking about what I don't have a clue about, which is why you guys need to stop listening to YouTubers. I can tell you, my videos come up, being a 10-year health professional in different sectors, they come up with people who are just average YouTubers who have gotten a lot of views on their video because they've got a following. Talking about an update on different sectors that they know nothing about. It's the same as watching a fat person give you fitness advice. What do they know about fitness? Like, yes, great, you know theory. You know theory, but if you don't live it, then what the hell are you talking about? Why should I listen to you? You don't know what you're talking about. You have no wisdom. So this is what I'm talking about in the cryptocurrency space. And I didn't want to go off on a tangent, but it's really important, especially for you young people out there. You have to listen to people who live it, not people who talk. There's so many people who talk out there. Your parents. Yeah, your parents are people who talk as well. They don't understand, okay? They don't understand, firstly, the new generation of wealth. They don't understand that because the majority of them are stuck in the past, kind of trying to keep up with the new generation of technology. And I can tell you, I've worked with people who are probably 20 to 70 or 80 years old. Some people on their deathbeds, actually, I've worked with in the past. And a lot of them at a certain age struggle to keep up with the technology that is new today. For the same reason, people are skeptical about you being a YouTuber till they realize, oh yeah, YouTube actually gives people a better income than most jobs in this world. Yeah, so not only that, the same with cryptocurrency space, they want you to invest in something that is not volatile because they're looking at it from a perspective where they're mainstream. So they're just following the news. The news is never right. Usually, if the news is saying something, do the opposite of what the news is saying, and you'll most likely become a millionaire very fast. Trust me. And that's what I meant by the whole suicide watch kind of thing being the time to buy in. When people absolutely mortgage their house, they sell everything that is meaningful to them, including usually their family and the people that cared about them the most, for something like cryptocurrency, for example, and it ends up going downward. A lot of people contemplate go into deep depressions, anxiety, suicide tendencies, etc. And they try that because they feel like there's no way out, and it's very real to them. It's very real to them, which comes to the next thing. And yes, you're listening to a healthcare person for the past, I've been doing it for the past 10 years. So now 11 actually, being 2021. But in the different sectors, you got to understand, like I said, what goes down will come up. That includes your depression, your anxiety, your feelings, etc. about how the space is now. The best thing to do is just stay away from the news and the BS that they give you, which is the reason why you guys should subscribe to this channel. I don't do these kinds of videos often, but I'm trying to keep you guys on track to the larger picture, which is the next thing I want to talk about. Realize the larger picture. And it becomes very easy to realize the larger picture if you come from a position where you do your own research. If you just research Bitcoin in general, you will realize that it is absolutely going to change the face of the world. It is, and it has been. I can tell you, I gave you guys the example before, but I'll say it again. I got stuck with zero money. in traveling overseas in Asia last year, for the whole of last year. Yet I was still able to give to the orphanage, give food every morning. Again, look at my actions, not my words. You can check out my other channel if you want to see that. I gave every morning to the children's orphanage in a few countries. I won't name. You guys can check out the video if you want more physical proof and insight. But I was able to also donate my time to helping with coronavirus research for a majority of the year. I was able to be in a management position, managing other doctors and nurses, etc., doing that kind of research as well, and also able to help people and save thousands upon thousands of lives, if not millions, in the grand scheme of things, right? So the reason I was able to do that is because, like Bitcoin, actually Bitcoin gave me the way to do this, and so did my entrepreneurial skills, etc. But in general, when I got stuck and I needed a new flight, Bitcoin was there. My digital assets were there. When I tried to open a bank, I couldn't do it because I wasn't a citizen of their country. And I'm not going to just marry somebody to get those kinds of privileges, right? So it's opening doors for so many people in this world. And I can tell you, traveling to Bali in the past year, people live off this. They live off the volatility of cryptocurrency. They live off the ability to have stable currency in their world that does not exist for them. And the ability to actually become one of the lower class in the Western world. Now, what do I mean by this? Lower class in the Western world is you are crazy if you're complaining every day about being lower class in the Western world. You have no idea how bad this world actually is. And I can tell you, again, first-hand experience. You can look at the videos that I put out. A lot of them is spending time in very, very impoverished countries. People are struggling right now, and it's going to get even worse. Okay, so if you think we're out of the woods yet with the whole COVID-19, etc., you are so wrong. I can tell you guys, again, look at my actions, not my words. I've been in this space very closely. I understand what is going on and why it is happening, but I don't want to focus on it for this video, obviously. But I need you guys to understand, Bitcoin is absolutely changing the world, and sure, it's not the volatile asset, but there are stable coins that have been produced off the Bitcoin network and copying the network, duplicating it to bring it to a position where they could use it for stability for different countries that are suffering. Venezuela being a huge one right now, and a huge one back in 2016 and 2017. That's why I'm so bullish on coins like RSR, etc., because they're doing good for the world, right? Sure, you might not get the biggest ROI on your investment, but you're actually doing good by the world by investing in it. Even if it's just a long-term hold to sell at the end. You are doing good by pouring money into a company that wants to do best for the world right now. Okay, so where am I going with this? Like I said, going back, do your own research, look at the actions of people in the space and not their words, and realize with this, the greedy get slaughtered. They absolutely do in this space, and I can show you guys a lot of evidence, but I won't because I'll be naming names again. You guys can do your own research on this. You have to include yourself in this statement as well. The greedy get slaughtered. This applies to trading, day trading, swing trading, and everything in between. There have been so many times, I cannot even describe to you, where I have set a sell target within the 90% range of where I know, by the way, charting for the past 10 years, where I know it is going to sell. I've put it in the 90% range of where it's going to sell, and it ends up reversing before it gets there. Now, a lot of you out there listening will have experienced this so much, where you wake up and you finally get a good night's sleep. You wake up and you see that your position is not sold. And it is not sold because you tried to sell everything at the top and it didn't get bought. It reversed before that, and now you're stuck holding baggage. Now, like I said, if you invest in the sound fundamentals of a coin and not just constantly look at the analytics and the charts, then this will most likely not happen to you for an extended period of time. But like I said, what goes down will come up, but what goes up will come down and won't come back up once all of the volume has left that space. So that is the reason why speculative stuff isn't something that I like looking into, and I give you guys sound picks that have given results time and time again for the past several years. That is the one problem that I would actually say, besides the small bugs that happen now and again with the DeFi space. These coins and these businesses are speculative, and some of them haven't actually come with sound proof. Majority of them that I've explained in these videos obviously have, or I wouldn't be explaining them. But some of them have not come up with tangible things that you can look at and go, wow, this has sound fundamentals and tokenomics for me to invest in this. However, you still trade it. Bad idea. Okay, so the only one that you can 100% count on, honestly, is probably Bitcoin. And that is because it has always come from a position where it has gone higher and higher and higher. And you can treat it like gold. Gold from the position where it is every fork and every cut of supply makes it a lot more scarce and means that less people will actually have the ability to have it in the future. So you can see it like that in terms of gold, but I would say better because, like I've said to you guys before, you don't want to be carrying a huge wad of rock in your pockets. So the fact that it's portable, secure, divisible, and can be used as a form of exchange and is securing your wealth is absolutely incredible. Again, never a better time to be alive than now, right? So with that in mind, and the greedy getting slaughtered, what would this, how would you do this? Scale in, scale out of your positions. Don't go all in straight away, okay? Whether it's long-term investing, whether it's short-term investing, never go all in straight away. Always keep a cash reserve of at least 25% on the exchange if you are a day trader, and just make sure you're keeping percentages there so you're not selling at a loss continuously. Those losses add up, and it takes so much more work for you to get those gains back. Trust me, I have been there time and time again, which leads me to the next thing. This may sound basic, but when you're in the moment, it is not basic at all. You never lose unless you sell. Okay? Let me say that again. You never lose unless you sell. That brief pause was to let that hit home for you guys and girls out there. I hope you're listening to this. Every time I've sold an asset, it has always bounced back up. Not only because I've done my research on fundamentals and I understand the space in general, but it's because I know for a fact that anytime my emotions come into this, then it is a very negative position to be stuck in. So this is what I meant about what I said previously. Looking at people's actions and not their words in the space is huge. Greedy getting slaughtered, and also coming from the position where you don't do your due diligence and actually look at the charts and actually see from a position where you understand what you're seeing. Okay, not from your own bias, you understand from the technical patterns that are going on in the moment, right? Not just on the 5 minute, like a lot of you, on the 1 hour, the 4 hour, etc. And also, if you're really stuck, looking at the macro picture of things, which is what I've been showing you guys on this channel. I've been showing you guys the fundamentals of this from a position of also looking at the TA from a wider perspective, so you guys realize if you can just buy, hold, set and forget, then eventually you will come out on top. But like I said, if you sell in that interim, you'll sell most likely at a loss. Okay, now I'm going to give you guys something huge since you guys have stuck in for this. We are about 3/4 the way through this, but I'm going to teach you guys a little bit to help you get through this when you think you're stuck in baggage. Now, not only listening to what I just said, but remember this. As Bitcoin goes up, so does the value of your coin or the asset you are stuck in. Okay, let me repeat that again. As Bitcoin increases in dollar value, so does the US dollar value of the asset that you feel you are stuck in. Some of you out there are holding on to bags, not realizing that Bitcoin has actually doubled since you held on to those bags, and you would actually be selling in the middle, cutting even, or even at a slight profit. But you don't realize that that's happening because you're looking at it from a Satoshi value, or you're looking at it from a position where the chart isn't showing the right things for you. Remember, the BTC pair versus the USDT pair is very different. They're very different. If you bought in USDT at a certain level and Bitcoin goes up, the Satoshis may not change, they may even go down. But because the price and the value of Bitcoin has rose, it gives you better percentage chance to get out there. I hope you guys are writing this down because it's huge. I have met a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of people in the space who are holding on to bags who don't even realize they don't need to be holding on to those bags. Constantly complaining about it, by the way, constantly annoyed by seeing it on the exchange every day, wondering when it will go up, when they don't realize that they're actually cutting even by the quote-unquote loss that they think that they had because Bitcoin went up during their complaining. So that is something huge for you guys. I hope you take that away and you use that in your cryptocurrency ventures, especially because you're going to have to make mistakes. Which leads me into the next thing. Remember the culture of the space. There are so many people, coming back to what I just said, that say the greedy gets slaughtered, right? Or who are greedy in the space. But you got to realize this. People in general, when they're winning or when they're in a position where they're comfortable, they want to express with other people. They want to do good, for the most part, with other people. Now, if you guys know the sectors that I've worked in, I've worked in prisons, yeah, with repeat offenders. I've actually worked with a serial killer or two, and this might sound crazy to you guys because I'm in a cryptocurrency space, but it is very much true. In the past 10 years, I've worked in a lot of different mental health, psychology, therapy spaces, as well as prison spaces in terms of, health professional in that space, not only because of being able to hold yourself in those kinds of positions, but also having the skills to de-escalate, etc. What you'll realize is this. A serial killer, and yes, I spent enough time with this person to understand, a serial killer is no different than any other person. Now, the difference is what they have done in the past. And when you have worked in these types of spaces, also in an elderly home with people on their deathbeds, I've actually spoken about holding people's hands and talking about their regrets at the end of their life. And again, go to my other channel if you guys want to subscribe to that. I'll be sharing a lot of these types of stories with you guys and girls. Very important for you to understand. Very important. It gives you a lot of proper perspective about life in general and when you should be working versus play and how hard you should be going, because life is very short. Right? So remember the culture. And the reason I'm saying this, especially to you young guys and girls out there who are listening, you've got to remember why you actually got in here. This is not just about money. And yes, you want to talk about mooning and Lambos and mansions and all of this bullshit, but trust me, I have been there, done that with all of the above and much, much more. First class flights, living in a position where people are doing everything for me, and none of that made me happy. None of it. And trust me, I would say I'm pretty average in terms of a person. So from that position, I can say that you guys will feel the same. It's a very different story when you actually have something versus wanting something so badly. And it is also a very different story to actually work very hard towards that thing. But like I said, the greedy gets slaughtered. So if you don't understand that this is a culture, the internet is a culture, and you need to be part of that culture and not go against people, right? Not just try to attack people. For the same reason, the people in past comments who say things that are very hurtful to me, for example, like go kill yourself, you don't know what you're talking about, go kill yourself, I take with a pinch of salt. Because when you're coming from the position where you understand that it's really that person hurting, and that person has to give out that kind of negative energy because they're not secure in themselves and they're having problems themselves, then you actually start to empathize with them even more. Do you understand? Now, if you don't understand, I understand. Sometimes I talk in riddles. So it's just remembering the culture and remembering that you are now part of the culture. And being part of this culture is actually what you want for the most part. Trust me, most people in life just want to be part of something. And yes, most people want to get rewarded for being part of that group. So there is a lot of incentive to get into this space and try to follow these people who have been in this space for longer. But you've got to understand this is a culture. And you've got to remember that this is a culture first rather than the money. And this isn't some crazy speech like, do what you love and the money will follow, or, follow the culture and the money will follow. It's true to a sense, but it comes with patience and discipline and habits that get you those rewards that you have to learn over time. You can't just look at the next mooning coin and then think that you're going to become rich for a long-term period. You can't. Every successful entrepreneur in this world, every successful person in this world did not blow up when it came to wealth. Okay? They did not blow up. It took time, it took discipline, it took a lot of energy and effort, and it's a slow process. So that's why you need to remember the culture. You need to get into the culture of the space and not just think about getting the rewards associated with the next viral video, which, by the way, is the reason why I'm giving this to you guys today. You have to remember it's a culture and be part of this culture. If that means creating videos yourself, then I encourage you to do so, right? Not just subscribe to somebody else's channel, especially if you actually know what you're talking about and you can help the culture become better, which is the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing. So the part that comes from the next part of this comes from the less of the heart and more of the brain here. You must learn how to chart. Okay, now I am going to put out a video for you guys on the basics of charting to help you guys understand that you do not have to be perfect at charting to be an absolute pro at it. I've been doing this for the past 10 years. I use such basic TA, it's crazy. Most people think, like, how did you get that? How did you get that result from this? It's because when you understand patterns and you learn to see them habitually, it's not, you don't need to draw charts a lot of the time. Now, the most I do for the most part, as you guys will see in some videos, is that I just do a bull flag for the most part, or a wedge, or whatever direction it's kind of going on, and I check the basics. The RSI, the volume, etc., they are the best place to go. I mean, you can do Bollinger Bands, etc., but they all come with risks. The MACD is not 100% as well. Most of these indicators don't give you everything by themselves, but together they are very, very, very powerful. So when you're looking at the next YouTuber who says that they know where Bitcoin's going or where some altcoin's going to the moon because of this, and they're constantly right, you can just look at the fact that they just learned how to chart. That's all. They learned technical analysis, which sounds difficult, but it's not. Trust me. I am not the smartest person in the world, and I learned. Alright? So no excuses. Put in time to learn charting if you don't understand charting, and I would actually suggest you do that first before investing in the space. Now, why do I say that? I have lost a lot. Let's just say a lot. Just learning how to trade, learning how to day trade, learning how to chart, learning how to do these things and put it into practical application. Which leads me to the next thing. You must learn with small amounts. I can tell you guys, I did not do this at all, but I didn't have the discipline or the habits in this space. Now, most YouTubers will come at you and they'll be just like, oh man, I'm perfect. You know, I know what I'm talking about and blah, blah, blah. Nobody ever tells you that they're imperfect, that they've been suffering for a long time, that they were sleeping on their parents' couch or their friend's couch, eating noodles for a majority of their life. But trust me, I have seen a majority of these YouTubers and where they've come from who are giving you this kind of advice in the cryptocurrency space. Most of them were eating noodles for the most part every single day, or bread, white bread with nothing on it for the most part, and sleeping on their friend's couch, right? So you've got to understand that just because they are where they are now and they're trying to front and show you their amazing life doesn't mean it's like that all the time for them, doesn't mean they're just stunting in your face and lying to you, and doesn't mean that they know what they're talking about. Okay? There's so many people who fall into that trap. Please don't be a sheep and fall into that trap. That's why you've got to learn charting, because like I said, it's very important for you guys to do your own research. Part of that is the fundamentals, part of that is the technicals. Okay? Now, very long video. I'm near the end, I promise you guys. If you could, and you have been getting so much value out of this, I really hope you have. Please smash the like button, because YouTube seems to like that, and it seems to put the video out to more people. And please leave a comment on the best thing that you have seen so far in this video. It helps me a lot to kind of understand where you guys and girls are coming from, because it's a very different picture coming from 10 years in the space. You understand it from a beginner's perspective, etc., but the space is dynamic, just like any other space is, or industry is. It's constantly evolving, and people are getting into it from a position where they're starting from a different position. So your guys' comments helps me to give you guys the right information to be very successful in the shortest amount of time possible, so you don't have to go through the space like me, where I came to Bitcoin when Bitcoin was very low, but everybody was using it for counterfeiting and laundering money and transferring and doing all kinds of illegal activity. Right? It wasn't something that you talked about in public, because if you talked about it, you were part of the problem. So it's a very different story today, but that's how it was for me when I first got into the space. And I thought mining, yeah, this is gonna crack you guys up, but we all thought it, right? I thought mining at the start, if I mined Bitcoin, I literally thought you had to go somewhere and mine it. So yeah, not the smartest person in the world. I think Windows 98. No, it must have been like Windows Vista, maybe. Windows Vista was the new Windows application, and you know how much that sucked. So using the internet with MySpace and Bebo and stuff was a very, very, very different world, right? Yeah, so that is a bit of nostalgia for you guys. Most of you young people are probably wondering, like, what is this old guy talking about? That's how it was, right? And Napster, oh man, Napster. You guys remember? No, you've always used Apple. Anyway, that's a bit about the past for you guys and girls out there. So like I said, learn charting, learn the fundamentals, learn the technicals. Make sure you're doing this properly. It will give you so much value in the future. You will not be able to wrap your head around it. Trust me. Everything will just click into place. It just does over time. You stay in a space and you focus on it enough. There's only so many times you can lose. And then all you have to do is win once big and you've won, right? But you can't give up during that time. Which the next thing is this. Have a life away from the charts. Now, you guys might notice that I have put the video of a lot of the travel around the world in the past year. That is literally 1 year of my retirement. That includes, as you guys see, the fitness that I've been going in, the people that I've been meeting, the people that I've been helping, the health professional work that I've been doing, the bucket list I've been ticking off since I was 20, I think, around 20 or so, around 6 years or 7 years or so now. And just going through and ticking so many things off the bucket list and seeing some amazing places and going around the world and just not allowing anything to stop me, right? And this is what I want for you guys and girls. That's why I keep encouraging you guys to follow my other channel, because it shows the different levels of health, wealth, love, and happiness and how to win in all those spaces. Most people think it's impossible. It's possible. It is. It's just very difficult to do. But once you get to a certain position, you're able to actually keep it for an extended period of time before you lose it. That is the same with everything. The same with the knowledge, the same with the wisdom, which usually is for a lifetime actually, and the same with fitness industry, same with wealth in general and making it, same with winning socially with people and being able to focus on what is important rather than the noise of things, etc. Learning all of those skills are lifelong. And like I said, all you have to do is win once, and that's enough, right? It's enough. But, depending on what you want to do, I know you guys want Lambos, etc. But like I said to you before, go for that, get yours, right? Do it. But realize, that is not what's going to make you fulfilled for the long term. It'll make you happy for a little bit, but not fulfilled. And by the way, if you guys think that you're too young to start, don't listen to the haters, the people with problems in themselves, telling you that it's too young. You're too young to do it. The youngest person in my entrepreneur group was 14 years old and is a multi-millionaire. He makes more than his parents, and his parents are top-end lawyers in the States. Yeah. So if you think that you're too young to start, you are wrong. You are very wrong. Okay, don't listen to anybody trying to tell you that. And again, if you guys need more encouragement about this, or you need practical advice going forward, follow the other channel. Follow the other channel. It's simple, and it will give you insights from a position of a person living it every day, not just talking shit and hiring a car and standing behind it like there's something special. I see that a lot with people. It's just absolutely amazing to me. Right? Amazing that people do that. And worse, that people fall for that. So don't be one of those sheep. Okay? So have a life away from the charts. Like I said, I show you guys instead of telling you for the most part. But it's very important you guys hear this from me as well. So you guys start to understand the sacrifices you have to make to get to this position. It's not as simple as just take the first flight and hop off that flight and go to the place that you want to visit and, and then take a few photos and take videos and that's it. No, there's so much other work in the background that goes to this. So much. I mean, I could show you guys the past 10 to 20 years from the position where I was struggling a majority of my life. Yeah, and I'm very upfront about that. I'm not trying to front like everything was great. Everything wasn't great. Okay, 7 years old getting kicked out of your house and having to do a paper run for food is not a great life. Okay, but you learn from those experiences, and I would never change that for anything. Okay, but you've got to have a life away from these charts. Why do I say that? Man, it can destroy you. It can absolutely destroy you. Your social life can go to zero very quickly. Your ability to actually win in different sectors of your health and well-being can go downward very quickly as well. You guys should not be following the different YouTubers and what they do in terms of keeping their YouTube channel afloat. They do not live lives of balance. And some of them talk about balance. Actually, a lot of them talk about balance. But there is 99.9% of the world who do not have balance in life. And it's not available to you guys now. It's only available to the top entrepreneurs right now. It is the Alpha Self program. I can teach you guys how to literally have that balance. But do not be fooled into thinking this is easy. It's not easy. You have to be constantly on it, constantly on people who are wasting time, money, energy, effort, and resources, etc. I can tell you guys, one of the ways I suffered, you guys want to know, just quick, one of the ways I suffered in the past 10 years was I actually ran 3 businesses. 3 businesses at a time. Now, you guys would think that that's it. No, I was working full-time as a health professional as well. So I was literally doing that while trying to keep my fitness up, which I did, by the way. I somehow found time to stay 10 years, now 11 years, in the industry as well. Keep my fitness up, keep my social life up, and during that time I got next to no sleep. Okay? So, and sometimes to the detriment of myself, to the point where, yeah, it was very negative. But I can tell you guys today, a majority of these people who judged me, ridiculed, talked shit about me to my face or online and, in the background, etc., or talk behind your back, etc., none of them are around today. None of them are living their life of their dreams. Most of them are just getting fatter, getting less in touch with themselves, losing touch with reality, depression, anxiety, all kinds of problems. And yes, that includes day traders as well, who fronted about their new technique that they had, etc. So there's a lot of sacrifice that comes with living a life like this, but it's possible. It's possible for you to do it. It is. I can tell you guys, the way I day trade, if I day trade or swing trade, is that I put it to the back, but I've always got one eye on it. As in, if I'm doing, especially with large positions that I'm not 100% sure about, if I'm going to day trade, I do it from a position where I pro trade. Set stop losses, make sure that if it is something that can reverse very quickly, set stop losses. Not only that, but make sure it's sound fundamentally, etc., where there's a chance for it to bounce back, and I play that position. Okay? Which is what you guys should be doing for the most part. You need patience in this industry. Trust me, all the money goes from the impatient, which is a majority of retail, to the patient, which is a majority of the top entrepreneurs in the world, or investors and hedge funds, etc., because they're not in a rush to get the gains. They're not stuck in the bullshit mentality of internet culture, okay? Which, by the way, is a great thing, but it's not something you want to get stuck in for too long. I've seen people who watch video after video looking at the altcoin picks, and then they just choose from the altcoin picks because of what somebody else said. I trust this person, so they must know what they're talking about. Usually they're wrong. Okay, so we're coming up to 15 minutes. I gotta finish this. Like I said, look at these actions on this video right now. Have a life away from the charts. Make sure you're winning in other areas, even if it's just one area that you're winning in. Right? One area away from this. You can go with cryptocurrency and you can love it, etc. But spending too much time researching, etc. If you already have a game plan and it's working for you, then why would you go to other shores, right? If it's working, it's working. So make sure you understand that and have a life away, because no one ever wished they had more money on their deathbed. Trust me, I have sat next to so many people who are on their last legs of life. They have told me their stories about everything under the sun, how great or how proud they were about their grandkids, the regrets that they had in life, but nobody ever told me that they wish they spent more time at work, or they wish they had more money to do what they wanted to. Everything is available to you now, okay? But being in the charts, being in the cryptocurrency space too much, and just being too invested in this space can lead you in a very, very negative direction very quickly. Trust me, first-hand experience as well. I have lived it, right? So I will give that to you guys on the stories in the other channel. It's not really something I want to be putting in this channel, because we're sticking to the fundamentals of, like I said, when FUD hits and what to focus on. So make sure you're, health, wealth, love, and happiness, and you're focused on keeping that for the long run. Because this is not a sprint, this is a long-term venture, all right? So, with that in mind, is the last things I want to give you guys, and I'll give you a little snippet to end this as well. There is always another way out. Okay? Now, I'll say that again. There is always another way out of your baggage. Now, I know a lot of you love to hyperanalyze this space. A lot of you like to come from the position where you're like, man, I'm stuck in this thing. I've been stuck for so long. I'm refreshing my block folio and it never goes up. It's constantly going down. When do I sell? What do I do? Let me tell you guys, continuing from what I said, with what goes down will eventually come up with sound fundamentals. Let me tell you this. If you don't sell, you don't lose, right? Let me say that again. If you do not sell, you don't lose. Now, if you've only taken a small loss and you can see greener pastures, then maybe you should consider cutting, right? Especially if all signals are going towards the bottom, right? Right to the bottom. However, if you've done your due diligence, that shouldn't be a problem for you. So what you have to understand is what goes down will eventually come up with sound fundamentals. Buy more low and sell high to even out what you've lost. Do your own research, obviously. Look at people's actions in the space, not their words, to know what to invest in. And also understand that there is always another way to offload baggage. So what I mean by that is the coins that you are stuck in, without cutting it, there is usually another way to offload these types of baggage. And since you guys have stuck around for the hour, I will give you guys the gem of wisdom that is absolutely huge for you guys. Okay? You guys ready for this? Please first, before I give you this, smash the like button. I know you guys have gotten a lot out of this. This is something that I wish I knew years back. I would have saved myself hundreds of thousands of dollars if I knew this. It is not a joke at all. So I wish somebody would have given me this video earlier. Okay, so there is always another way. And the way can be the following. You can always buy low at a cheaper price and bring it back to the middle of the average of those prices to sell in the middle so you don't take a loss. So that means putting more. If you are too scared to put more because of the way it is going right now, what I would suggest is you can look into other fundamentals of this for you to get yourself into a position where you see things happening in the future. So what do I mean? Researching, like I said, and going into the roadmap and making sure that there's some form of bullish sentiment that could be happening in the very near future that you can look forward to that will make the asset that you invested in increase in price. Right? So you can hold on if you are worried about taking a loss in this position and you don't want to invest more, you can look for bullish sentiment in the future. And yes, it is a very difficult position to be in because it's either, ride or die kind of thing. You have that one chance and that's it. But you're better off going after that than selling at a loss just to see that news take place and just to go, oh, I was right about this. It doesn't matter if you're right or wrong. It matters if you take action thinking that you're right and you have trust in yourself, faith in yourself, right? So you have to have faith from the perspective where you know what you're actually talking about. That is why listening to somebody give you advice on YouTube especially is not the right thing to do. Many of these people are paid to give you that kind of advice. They're given rewards, whether it be in cryptocurrency, whether it be paid ads or paid to give an ad or promote something. It doesn't mean the thing should be bullish. You got to do your own research, all right? So the next part is, while you're holding on, you can look at different charts in different spaces or exchanges. Now you need to be very, very wary about this because certain exchanges have bad reviews because they lock your funds in the exchange. Remember, when something is in a bank, it is not yours. When something is in an exchange, it is just the same, not yours. You think it is because you put your money in, etc., but they have rights to whether you get that back or not. That is why I keep saying go to Binance. It's just the most reputable exchange by far, and it is the most used in the world. So therefore, the chances of them screwing you over are very low. But what I would suggest is looking at other averages. And you guys can actually do that by going on to CoinMarketCap or whatever else, CoinGecko or whatever it is, and looking up the different pairs that exist on different sites. Now, some of you might actually find a difference in the dollar value of this if you can sell. But I want you to be very, very wary of this. This is high risk. And of course, not financial advice at all. Because they can lock up your funds. They can put you in a position that you don't want to be in. They can also not allow you to deposit those funds into that account. Right? So you've got to look into all these things. And this is coming again from a person who has made 10 years of mistakes, as well as being very fortunate in certain ways, having bouts of luck and being very unlucky, etc. And just being in a position where, yeah, it goes up and goes down, but as long as you keep consistent, eventually, if you are sound in your research, this will come back up. So we are coming up an hour right now. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm going to end it here. Again, please leave me a comment on what you guys believe is the best solution for your problems when you're feeling FUD or you're feeling depressed about the way the charts are going. I really want to hear your comments below. Hope you guys enjoyed these snippets of traveling around and doing stuff around the world. Like I said, I don't just talk, I live this every day. And yeah, leave a like on this video if you guys liked it and subscribe for more, and I will catch you guys for the next video. Peace.